Evening, everybody. It is Kai from Ka Intuitive. I am in my kitchen, actually. The time is 10:26 p.m. and I know that that's not really like all that late to a lot of people, but for me, it's definitely past my bedtime. At the time of filming this, it is the new moon in Leo, 7:25:25. And I just felt like I needed to post a video. I was laying in bed and trying to get to sleep, but this new moon is definitely active. It's definitely fiery, definitely triggering some things for me. I'm sure it's triggering things for the collective, and I haven't gotten on here and done a collective reading in some time, so I thought that I would take the opportunity to do it right now while my house is quiet. So I have this is not like a fixed candle or anything. It's a Volspa candle, California Summers. It smells amazing. I just love the smell. And I will be using my Oracle deck, my Isis Oracle deck, and the Cat Tarot for clarifiers. It's like up on my coffee pot right now, so I'm not going to pull it down just yet, but yeah, this will be just a really brief video. I don't really want to take a lot of time. I need to go to bed. But yeah, I just wanted to get on here and talk and pull cards and just kind of take in the vibes of the night. First and foremost, it just feels like just total womb space, which is interesting because like Leo doesn't necessarily give me like womb energy as much as like maybe like a water sign might, or Cancer, namely, but it definitely just gives off like that secret heart space, like that deepest wish, or that deepest just like a deepest desire to be seen or to be heard, to be acknowledged, and just to be witnessed, right? And like I think that us as people, we really just need that right now more than ever. People just kind of feeling a little like isolated maybe from each other, or isolated from even ourselves, because we're kind of in this rat race type of feeling. And I don't know. That's just the experience of a lot of people. It's not necessarily my experience, but I definitely can relate to just kind of feeling an odd sense of isolation or an odd sense of loneliness that I can't quite put my finger on. Because, maybe you who are listening, you're typically fine being alone, but for some reason, for right now, it just seems like if you've ever seen SpongeBob, where he's like, this isn't average darkness, this is advanced darkness. Like, that's kind of how I feel. I'm like, this isn't just like alone, this is like advanced alone. Or another SpongeBob reference is the alone Squidward, when he's in that like white room and he's like tripping out about like being in the time machine and stuff like that. And yeah. So anyway, it's like your Squidward, where you're like, no, definitely I like being alone, but I kind of do miss my like annoying neighbors, It's like you miss maybe like the annoying, like annoyingly playful parts of life that aren't really here right now. And then it just kind of feels like something's missing. And you kind of, I don't know, this is pretty much what I was thinking before I got up and set up my stuff to do this. But I was thinking about how like, even when something's totally flawed, it's still missed, like it's like you can work so hard to make something perfect, but it's actually like the flaws that make it worth it type of thing. And I guess that's like maybe just a me thing right now, that I'm like, I'm not sure what to do with myself now that there's it's almost like too quiet, which like isn't a normal complaint, but for right now it is. But anyway, I am drinking lavender chamomile tea with probiotics. It tastes great. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and shuffle cards. I first, of course, want to breathe. Big breaths, right? And kind of just like relaxing into the energy, taking into the night. It's just taking in the fact that we don't get to know everything, being okay with it, kind of releasing that, releasing the need to know, and just letting things be the process that it needs to be. And knowing that our only job is to call in the highest good for all. I want to call in my ancestors, my spirit guides, protecting this reading, delivering this message to whomever it's meant for, whoever it resonates with, not even really meant for, but just like resonates with. Taking in the fumes of my Volspa candle, feeling very rich. That's more or less a joke, but yeah, I think I said like the scent was California summers, and that's where I'm at, and it's been a really weird summer weather-wise. It's been kind of colder than usual, but I'm not complaining. It's nice. Definitely still, for sure, warm California, or warm Southern California, I should say. But different. Spirit, I just want to connect. What is it that the collective needs right now? What is the message that we need before bed, before work, before heading off into what is known? What do we need as we meet you in the unknown, in the mystery of it all? Okay, let's see. We got 2 cards. I have to like scooch it up to my candle. We have Power Over 7 Scorpions and Temple of Carnelian. Wow, that's giving so much Leo energy right now. So first, the Power Over 7 Scorpions is power to conjure lower vibrational forces. This is giving a lot of inner child. The need to protect that inner child by perhaps like using the word is, it's so weird. The word is unsolicited methods. I'm not entirely sure what that means yet, but it's the need, the absolute need to respect the fact that our shadow is there to give protection to the innocence that is also there, and that both are able to simultaneously exist within one person and able to come out in a multitude of ways and deserve to, if we're being honest. And it's when we have kind of what I would call like a sovereignty over our shadow aspects, if you will, that's what kind of allows us to usher in the peace and attain that and be balanced within that, right? Like when I'm seeing like a filter, like not that we're filtering out the bad or the good, because I don't believe in that, but it's like it's almost like the higher self is the filter, right? Like it's like your own personal like Holy Trinity, like higher self, inner child, shadow self. And it's like all of those things are necessary to pull you into full completion. And it's understanding both aspects of the shadow and the child through the lens of the higher self, and a need for that, and how we find that need is moving into this temple of carnelian, entering the fierce belly of Sekhmet. That is a goddess with a lion's head, which is, you don't get more Leo than that. Like, for real, for real. You know what's interesting is actually a Leo has gifted me these cards, which is funny. We no longer speak, but I wish her well. I wish her the best. But that was random. But yeah, entering the fierce belly. Where was I with that? We were talking about the filter. Yeah, the fire. When I think of the belly, besides thinking of, the obvious, which to me would be like, the solar plexus chakra, that's the fire within your soul, like your body, the go, if you will. I honestly immediately think of, if you've seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, I think of Uncle Iroh, and like the perfect blend of inner child, shadow, and higher self. And I think of how he was never without, like, he was still known as the Dragon of the West. And this is like, I'm nerding out, but like, my people find me. He was known as the Dragon of the West. Like, he brought a lot of pain and harm and disillusion and disillusionment, and like uprooted people's lives. Okay. I was like a war, like, tyrant, and then turned around and gave the most sage advice to lost souls, those related to him and unrelated. And I really do believe that it was through, I really do believe it happened. It was the show. It's not belief. It's real. Iroh, in one scene, had explained that, he was able to master fire bending, right? He was able to control that fire in the belly, right? Through studying the other elements, through studying the other tribes and the other nations and kingdoms, and that was how he was able to perfect his fire bending and to redirect lightning. And he was like one of the only few benders that could do a fire bender that could do that, and so it was very rare, and like, it was a gift, but it was a hard-won gift. It was a learned gift. And while his intent at first wasn't good, it became the actual like remedy that brought Prince Zuko into understanding his own dark night of the soul and seeing himself in a better light that was in alignment with the Avatar's mission, and if you haven't seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I'm talking about the actual animated series from Nickelodeon, you should watch it. I believe it's on Netflix still. I just did my like a millionth rewatch, and it just gets better and better. But anyway, I guess this message is really such a message of like being gentle with yourself, and like putting down that maybe you've been like brutalizing yourself for mistakes you've made along the way of your journey and things that you wish that you could take back. But this is a message of learning how to take the lesson, take the healing, take the medicine out of those experiences and apply it to your life to enrich others. And like in turn renewing and birthing a absolutely new you. And I know how cheesy that sounds, but I would almost say like one of the greatest wars ever is the war that we battle within ourselves. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Sekhmet, the goddess Sekhmet, is the goddess of war. If I'm not mistaken, I'm going to read the book also, just like the little blurb, at least about that one, because it's really standing out, because maybe this is like a goddess that, you know, we as a collective should be working with on our altar spaces, just like during this new moon. Maybe there's, you know, some realization that you want brought into the light, right? That you want to kind of, you know, you want it to be usable energy, right? And like, that's literally what the belly is for. And I'm sorry if I jump around a lot. That's just how I am, but that's literally what the belly is for, right? When we eat something, it goes into our stomachs, and our bodies break it down to, and then like send out the nutrients to where, it needs to go, right? That's the job of the belly, is to break things down and put it where it needs to go. That gives us the most vitality. And so this reading immediately just really calls for you kind of separating in order to put together again. Like, and I don't know if that's like, if that resonates, you know, maybe separating from your expectations of what you should be or what you could have been, and just kind of forgiving yourself. You know, everybody wants to talk about how Leo is so much about like, oh, it's me, Leo, hello. But, you know, Leo is so much more than that. And, you know, Leo deals with the heart, the center of our soul, you know, our heart, and matters of the heart, whether that's in relationships, the relationship with ourselves, the relationship with our higher self, the relationship with spirit, the relationship with, you know, love and trust, like whoever. And this message just feels like a huge call and shout out that the matters of the heart is what's needing some attention right now. And with the darkness of the new moon, what a perfect time to go into somewhat of a hermit, even though I know it's Leo, right? And I'm not saying like hide from anybody or hide. Hermit doesn't necessarily mean hide. It means to journey within, right? If we think of the Hermit card, right? It's you're following your heart, you're following your North Star into, you know, the next like phase of your ascension. You know, no big deal, no pressure. So, I really want to get to know Sekhmet. This is going to take a second though for me to find this by candlelight. Wait, what? It starts with a T. T, the tip of the tongue, the tip of the tongue. Let's see, where is that? Almost there. Temple of Black Obsidian. It actually wasn't that hard. Okay, it's 10:44 on the clock right now. Okay, y'all, I'm gonna have to move my candle like a weirdo. Look, this is giving hermit. And I didn't even mean to do this. I honestly am just down here because this is like the only space in the house that like I could do this and not disturb everyone. So that like literally like we're having a hermit moment right now together. Hi. Okay. Temple of Carnelian. Also like working with carnelian for sure. That's a crystal if you're not familiar. Entering the fierce belly of Sekhmet. Also a huge like call to protection. There's so much protection energy here. Like I'll tell you a story after I'm done reading this. You have such great strength within you. It is time to trust in your own boldness and courage, taking risks that feel true to your heart and engaging in practices that make you feel truly and genuinely alive, embodied, and more of yourself, even if not always comfortable, are going to help you live the life you were born to live. Wait, taking risks that feel true to your heart and engaging in practices that make you feel truly and genuinely alive, embodied in more of yourself, even if not always comfortable, are going to help you live the life you were born to live. Okay. Yeah. Oh, she is not, they don't say anything about war. I'm just kidding. In the fierce belly of Sekhmet, the lion-headed sister of Iset, the Egyptian goddess of passion, courage, and fire, there is no room for procrastination, self-doubt, or turning back. She urges you on your high destiny, calling to you to believe, keep going, reach higher, and expand wider. You can do so knowing that the Temple of Carnelian will bring you warm strength, encouragement, and deep trust in your own body, wisdom to guide you through any situation or relationship that may arise to test you, so that you can grow into a more magnificent being. Yeah. Yeah, Sekhmet, she really is. I would say that she's the goddess of war in some respects. What was the story I was going to tell you? Oh, yeah. I had at one point in my life, and I'm still, I would say, probably getting over it a little bit. I had such a fear of forgiveness. Because, let's talk about courage for a second, right? This card, the reading itself is very triumphant, dun, 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 very outward, and that makes sense because it is Leo season. It's a Leo new moon. It's Sekhmet, for crying out loud, right? But a part of, in my experience anyway, a part of being courageous has been being able to be honest and taking honest, self-assessment of who I am and who I've been and where I want to go, and kind of reevaluating. And maybe perhaps because there's so many damn retrogrades going on right now, I'm feeling more of hermit vibes than stand out there and fucking take your shirt off and whip it around your head, do something crazy, be courageous, no, it's being courageous enough to say, I don't know, but I'm gonna find out. Being courageous enough to be vulnerable, that takes a lot of courage, and it also stacks upon itself, right? That's the type of courage that you take one step into that direction and a bunch of other doors fling open, and it's just so rewarding, and it's so comforting to know that we'll always be caught. And I don't mean that in a aha way. I mean in a supportive way. When we step off the cliff, there will always be something to catch us, right? When we go that distance. And so for myself, when I had to kind of get real and realize that I was afraid of forgiveness because I thought forgiveness meant that I don't have to have boundaries anymore. And I know that sounds so silly when you say it out loud and in a sentence, but the reality is that I genuinely believed that if I forgive certain people, then that means that I'm opening the door for them to hurt me again. And I had to realize through a lot of prayer and exercise of just my spiritual things that I partake in, and then also just therapy, I had to realize that, forgiveness doesn't have to look any sort of way, and it can be what it is for me right now in this moment. And I'm not talking about right now. I'm just saying in that time that I had that realization, forgiveness is a boundary. It doesn't have to be a free for all, and it certainly isn't a door or it doesn't mean access. Forgiveness doesn't mean access, right? And I had to learn that, and that was really hard because I am an incredibly guarded person. I, for a very long time in my early spiritual journey, referred to myself as the Queen of Swords, very much I will cut you, don't, you know what I mean? Because, to whom much is given, right? But also, in the same way of this power over 7 scorpions card, I had something so precious and so innocent to protect, and that was my soul, my very young, still like figuring itself out, very fool energy, like smelling the roses around the meadow, trying to understand everything by putting it in my mouth, like just like a child, like a toddler, right? Like my spirit, when I first started my spiritual journey, was very much that, just exploring, total exploration. And so because of that, I couldn't allow my soul to wander without an absolute ferocious beast looking after her. And I had to learn that everything needs its experience, even my like small baby spirit process, and I couldn't interrupt my own learning by severing it off before I could hear anybody speak. And that's really hard, but once I got open to that maybe being something that was blocking me, and a behavior of my own that was blocking me, it was like once I accepted that and started making the action behind that of not behaving that way, more loving and compassionate relationships came my way. And I was able even to be like more gentle with people that were already pre-existing in my life at that time. I was able to be a better wife and a better mother, and a better friend, because I recognized that, I'm moving through me protecting is just me, moving with a sense of fear. I'm not in control of anything. That's an illusion, And so I think that this new moon really is talking about like our illusions and the stories that we tell ourselves, and really getting down to the bone of what the fuck is real for us, and really getting clear on that, and allowing, spirit's like, once I said bone, like spirit, like just showed me an image of like throwing, putting like, when you put something in the sun, like after Thanksgiving, you might like take the bone out of the collarbone or what have you, and you like peel all the skin and the meat off of the bone, and you lay it out in the sun, or you might put it in the oven, maybe not the oven, but definitely I've laid it out in the sun, and it just dries and everything else falls away from it. Like that's the image that I'm getting. And it's not to say, be bare, right? Because we don't, once we do that, we kind of need to add some softness there, or some comfort there too. And that comes with, the comfort and the balm for that would be just meeting yourself with understanding and compassion. Compassion means that, we're to be there within each other's suffering, right? To sit in each other's suffering. And now for you as an individual, what does that mean? That means that you're able to sit with your highest opinion of self, right? Your highest knowing of who you are, and allow yourself to feel with your highest self being there to catch those tears. Another personal story that I'll say, and then I'll shut up because this is at 30 seconds or 30 minutes almost, is I realized that I lecture my child a lot, and not nagging lecture like, you didn't do your chore. I mean, like, everything becomes a life lesson, and like everything is a life lesson. And I realized one day when I was talking with him that he was he was looking at me, but his total little brain was just totally checked out. And I saw this and I was like, oh my God, I'm losing them, you know? I have got to reel this in. And I had to realize and sit with myself, like, why do I feel? And these are the kinds of questions that I think we should ask ourselves always, you know, in our relationships with others, and how we are being, not perceived, but like how our feelings or how our actions are affecting others. It's not necessarily a perception, because my son isn't perceiving, he is literally living it. And he's like, this is exhausting. He's not perceiving that. That is really his reality. So I have to look at, like, how is this affecting him, right? And also myself, it's making me crazy, because I'm like, you know, exhausting myself, burning out my wheels, you know, trying to explain things in 7 different ways in 1 hour. And it's exhausting for me. It's exhausting for him, right? And I had to ask myself, like, what is it? Why do I have the propensity to lecture? Where is this coming from? And after I sat with it for a little bit and really asked myself that question, I realized it's fear. It's all fear. Fear of him, of fear of me being inadequate, not preparing him enough, not giving him everything he needs to make it through life. You know, it just anything, right? Like, it just total fear. And once I recognized this is very recent, actually. So it's not that I haven't gotten over this hill yet. I don't want to spread rumors about myself. That's not real. Like, I haven't gotten over this yet. It's still in practice. But I'm practicing currently, you know, how to just be quiet. Just be quiet and just let him talk. And, you know, if I have the urge to talk about, you know, further whatever he's telling me, ask him, do you want my opinion, or do you just want me to listen right now? And sometimes he says, you can just listen. And I do. I really do. And I hear everything he has to say. And I tell him, I trust that you know what to do with this situation, or I believe in you, or I hear what you're saying, and that wasn't nice, or, you know, that person said that to you or did that to you, right? Whatever, right? I just spend that time, anytime that I talk now is more or less, you know, to validate his experience, or to show him, you know, that I'm truly listening and engaging and hearing what he's saying, and not just waiting for my turn to talk. And you know, then there are times that he's like, no, yeah, I want, like, what do you think? You know, and I tell him, like, what I think, how I see it. And then I let him know, like, and in the end, it's, you know, these are your experiences to have, you know, and you have to go through your experience. And that's just the way it is. It's not my place to rob him of that, even at his age, you know? And so, where I think, you know, my son's young, and so I think a lot of parents kind of shy away from giving their kids quite as much autonomy or a sense of autonomy as I've given my child. I understand why, and I think that that's within, you know, that's well-meaning, completely well-meaning, right? All of my lecturing was absolutely well-meaning too, but it comes with a price, and we gotta make sure that we're willing to pay that price. You know, I've always taught my child that he is his own person, and that I'm just here to guide him for as long as he will let me, really, because I can't force him. And that's the truth. That's just the truth for any of it, right? You know, I give suggestion, and I let him work it out with support and with a very close eye, but I do let him more or less work it out. Of course, it always depends. But anyway, that's so just all over. My point is just, in this new moon, just be real with yourself. Be real, but don't be rough. Don't be aggressive. I mean, that doesn't get us anywhere. And when you do uncover ways in which you maybe get in your own way, don't judge yourself for it. There's no reason to do that. Literally zero. You know? And if you feel like you need to judge yourself for it, ask yourself another question. Ask yourself why. Why do I think I need to judge myself for this? Why do I feel like I need to be put up on the spot? Because I existed? Because I tried something and it didn't work? That means I get judged for it? You know? We're kind of in the process of reinstating ourselves as our own best friends. And when we are our own friend, it's really hard to knock us down. And that, I think, is like the spirit of Leo. And that's probably why I'm getting more or less a vibe of soul searching, heart searching, solar plexus searching, right? For this Leo new moon. I guess I'll pull from my kitty cat tarot just for, like, I don't know, confirmation or expansion cards, but I really feel like that's nail on the head. We've been doing this for a while, so if there's any other additional messages from the kitty cat tarot. Oh my gosh, I almost like dropped the whole thing. I'm like hearing like self-discovery, not turning against the self. Yeah. 5 of sky with oh, I can't see that one at all. 9 of fire. Yeah. It's just the vibes off of these 2 cards. I wish I could show you, but it's like so freaking dark. It's not even funny. Oh, and what's on the bottom of the deck? It's a kitten. Oh, no, you guys are not going to believe it. It's the Fool. It's the Fool card right underneath. Oh, with the Emperor right underneath that one. Yep. Yep. And I'm not even surprised. So, yeah. Kind of turning away from our own self-judgment and figuring out what works, what doesn't, what we need to keep, what we need to discard. And I know new moons typically are more for calling in, and you can do that, right? It's not typical that for new moons we do release work necessarily, but I don't know. I think it doesn't matter. I think it's based on your intuition and based on your vibe and what you do. Sometimes for a new moon, I definitely feel like, okay, we're shutting some shit. Like, we are clearing this path, right? And we're doing it, silently, and we're doing it with great intention. But the intention that I am setting is to have a clear, energetic line to spirit and source. So there you go, so I think that with the Fool card being at the bottom of the deck as well, and then just underneath that one, the Emperor, I do think that very much we are collectively on this journey. And though you are on this journey, as you understand that when you elevate, baby, you elevate all of us. And so any path that you choose that is towards your greatest good is the greatest good for every single one of us. And because of that, I just want to thank you. I want to thank you for being so brave and courageous to just continue anyway, despite, right, whatever it is, whatever else is going on in your life that may make you feel kind of down on yourself or down, stressed, or I can't focus on that right now. I got to pay this bill, or I got to da-da-da-da-da. I applaud you so much for just fucking thugging it out this far. Same. I'm with you so much. But it does feel very much like we're kind of shifting into a new process that is needed and necessary. And it's all to clear the line between each other and yourself. And I truly, truly believe that when one person steps out courageously, it gives permission for so many others to follow suit. And so remember that, and remember your power, and that we all have that. We all share power. together. So, blessed summer solstice vibes for those who are in my hemisphere, the northern hemisphere, and happy Leo new moon. Happy whatever day it is for you if you're watching this in the future. Like I said, maybe working with Sekhmet a little bit, or like just solar energy. Getting out in your garden, journaling, free writing or automatic writing, meditation, inner child work, mirror work, shadow work, fire, like building a bonfire, maybe writing things into that fire and throwing it in. But oh yes, and I don't know, did I say this? Protection, calling in protection over yourself, over your magic, over your intuition, over your gifts, over your life. Okay. Thank you so much for listening. I know this is really long, but I really hope that it resonated with who it was meant to. And I will see you some other time. Bye.